Welcome back to Garage Story. Today I want to do part 2 on this mower, and let's go over real quick the things that it needs and why it needs them. In the last video we basically established that this thing runs and drives okay, and in the process, me being just slightly lazy in my haste to get it running and driving, I threw the front tires off of the bead, which is kind of annoying. I should have known better. I should have gone ahead and just tried to air them up anyway at first. It would have saved me a little bit of work now. So now I need to try to see if I can reseat these, because I don't really know that the tires are bad, because this mower has sat for a few years possibly. It could be such a slow leak that it's insignificant. And I need to take care of the reason why this thing won't start, which I don't think is just the battery being weak. I think it might be a bad starter. So if I try to start it right now, it doesn't do anything because the parking brake's not on. Let's try that again. Anyway, outside it was just doing the slow crank without starting, but I think that it's the starter itself isn't working 100%, but it could also be that my valves aren't adjusted, so my compression release may not be catching. But if I turn it over by hand, it feels pretty loose, so I don't think it's my compression release. But at the same time, I do want to go ahead and adjust my valves and replace the valve cover gasket, because this thing is really dirty back here, and it's also a little bit noisy in the valve train department. I think it's got a little bit of a tap. So those are the main things I want to fix. Make it start fine, adjust the valves, and change the valve cover gasket, get the front tires good, and really then put this thing back together and probably give it a bath and try to sell it. So that's the plan. See if we can take care of those 3 things, and maybe we can sell it this fall for bagging up leaves, because somebody mentioned on my last video that maybe this mower with a bagger would be something to sell in the fall. And well, it's actually a good point. I have never really sold a mower with a bagger on it, a riding mower. I figured, why not? Go ahead and shoot a part 2 to this series, and see if we can get this thing fixed up and sold. That's the plan. Let's see if we can start working on these tires. I think I'm gonna have to use the air compressor, because that is buried back in there, and this thing is like way too big. Air compressors just don't build muscle and character like using a bike pump. But in this case, that chuck fits on there a lot better. It might be just the ticket. I'm running off an extension cord out here, so I turned off a couple lights just to help out with the load on the cord. I hit the start button on the air compressor and the lights dimmed. That was it. The compressor stopped. I hit the switch again, nothing happened. And my fuse looks slightly black. I think I need a new fuse, which kind of means I'm not gonna be able to start the air compressor tonight. I think we're kind of at a dead end tonight, but that's okay because I got out here later than I wanted to, and that's just the way these projects go sometimes. All right, it's day 2 of part 2, and we are back at it here, and well, thanks to the power of Amazon, we have some valve cover gaskets here now. And I haven't figured out what to do about the air compressor yet and tire situation, but I did remember I've got an old air compressor someone gave me, and it's possible it works. So why don't we go take a look at it and see if we can dig it out of the other shed where it sits. Older Campbell house field. So I kind of want to do is see if the pump and motor will turn over by hand first. Oh yeah. It looks like this thing's supposed to have oil in it. There's oil in there. Perfect. Let's plug it in and see what happens here. Think it'll work? That thing might work. Sounds like it's got a little bit of a knock in the pump. So far, I don't think it has any pressure at all. So it finally occurred to me to check the drain port on here, which I haven't done yet. So let's get it out of its tub. There we go. So I think this is probably left open. I just put the hose on here and I feel air coming out. I think it's leaking air pretty good. But it's definitely building pressure now. Let's go ahead and see how this works on this tire up here. See if we can get this tire on. Oh yeah, we got it seated. I need to get this thing off. There we go. Sometimes I like to oil my valve stems a little bit, just in case it helps them seal up a little bit. Not really sure if any oil got in there, but a little quicker than just changing it out. Alright, mission accomplished. This is leaking all over here. See those cracks? But hey, this worked. We got the tires on. But yeah, let's move on to this. Okay, got it jacked up. Got a jack stand under there. Got this kind of cleaned off a little bit. So now let's go ahead and try to pull it off. And again, the reason I jacked it up is to try to make the oil run that way in the engine, so that when I pull that off, oil's not coming out. But I have my mat here just in case. Hopefully that catches anything if anything comes out. So yeah, let's try to pull these off. That's not very tight. Those are so loose that it's possible I could have just tightened them to stop the oil leak, but I don't know. It's pretty stuck on there. But we want to adjust the valves anyway, so. Oh, goodness. It looks like possibly the gasket was reused along with gasket sealer, because the corner is broken off in that gasket, and I don't feel like I have a full complete corner here. Now let's adjust the valves and get all these surfaces cleaned off so that we can put the new gasket on there, and hopefully it'll seal up well. And I think I've already done this before, maybe a time or two in a video, so we'll just time lapse it. Well, I think we got that done there. So I hope I cleaned off the gasket surfaces enough. I didn't go as all out as I have in the times past because it just takes a really long time. I'm not sure exactly how clean it needs to be for a valve cover gasket. It's not like a super high pressure area, but it is also a common leak area. So the valves were definitely loose, and they were both, I think, past 20 thousandths, and I believe the intake on this is supposed to be 5 to 7 thousandths, and the exhaust is supposed to be 7 to 9 thousandths. So got them adjusted down in there, and hopefully that quiets this engine down a little bit, and hopefully we resolve some of the oil leakage. Yeah, let's drop it down off the jack and see if we can fire it up again and see how it sounds. Runs pretty good. Once it's warmed up a little bit, but I think that it's set up so it can idle just a little too low. But I don't think that's big enough of a problem to worry about. Gosh, we've got the tires on, we've got the valves adjusted, valve cover gasket changed out, and now it starts better. So, man, maybe we should try it outside and see how well it cuts. See if we can figure out how to take off this doohickey here. Somebody helpfully installed a hook on the front here. I think I'll just make use of that hook. Just need to find something else to pull it with. Hey, I wonder if this thing will start. It's coming out. Oh yeah, we got it done. Nice and easy. Nothing like a little adventure there. I have to admit, I kind of enjoy doing stuff like that. I know that mower is probably one of the least capable machines I could have tried to use to pull this thing out, but it did enough to get it out, and I don't think I really damaged the transmission doing that because they slip so easily. I think you'd have to do that a lot to really permanently damage one of those hydrostats, because especially when the ground's slightly damp like it is today, you'll just start slipping. Yeah, hopefully that one's in a video coming up soon. Just need to finish fixing it and getting it sold. But yeah, so I'm real happy with how this mower is coming along. Now we just need to get it washed and sold. All right, so here's the situation here. This thing is leaking oil. It was leaking out of this valve cover. I could see it dripping down here. Not good, because I just changed that gasket out. So either I didn't clean things well enough or I didn't tighten the bolts well enough, or it's a bad gasket. But we also have a bigger issue. The oil drain got popped off somehow, and now we have oil running all over in here. So need to steal another cap. This is why you keep all your trashed engines. Oh, this thing looks nasty. That looks exactly like what I want. Will that fit on there? Oh, I think it might. Well, let's check the cap first. Oh yeah, the cap fits right. I can sit on there like that. It'll be all ready for when we need it. I'm thinking for this valve cover, since I already tried a gasket and it didn't fix the problem, I think this time I'm gonna go ahead and just do the sealant again. I've got Honda Bond and the right stuff. I think I'm gonna use the right stuff because I've used that on valve cover gaskets before. The bolts were slightly loose. I think I just didn't torque them down enough when I did it before. I may put some oil in there and see if it leaks out again. I just didn't want to warp the cover by tightening them too tight. I think that might stop the leak right there. The oil's starting to come off now. Now we can go ahead and crack this and pull this out. It looks like that oil drained off of there pretty nicely. There's no oil sitting down there. I think it all came off the back end here. So now we're ready to let it down. I may tilt the engine that way to make sure everything came out. Hopefully it did. And fill it back up and see if it leaks or not. All right, oil's all drained off down there, which is good. And now it's time to let this thing back down. Let's go ahead and close this thing off, push in and rotate, and put the safety cap on as well. Get the oil added, and we should be well on our way. Let's go with the typical 10W30. Let's see if this thing will fire up. It's gonna need a good cleaning again. All right, so now I just basically need to let it sit and see if oil starts leaking out there. We have let this thing sit for a couple days or so, and it doesn't appear to be leaking oil, so I think we fixed it just by tightening up those bolts here. And I would say this mower is really pretty much ready to sell because I don't really want to mess with the seat. I'll probably wash it off again before springtime, or rather when I'm ready to sell it. But it's late enough in the year, I don't think I'm gonna really bother try listing it. Even though you could list it for leaf collection like someone mentioned to me, but it's already mid-December now, so I'll probably just wait and sell it in the spring. But yeah, I think that sums up this project. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out so far. So as always, guys, keep making stories, stay safe, and tune in next time for the next story on Garage Story.